A man getting bit by an alligator and he screams.
Okay, quiet.
Stood out towards me.
Ow! No, not an owl. A real scream of pain.
That noise means that we're back at DIFF, and it's not driving while screaming now, it's like lounging while screaming.
Right.
Because we get to be in the press lounge
Sitting
with everyone else.
Yeah, we get to be in the press lounge, which is like a very small, roped-off area.
But they are velvet ropes.
They are very nice.
And that is important.
Velvety ropes.
Because like, what if they were corduroy? Whoa, if they were corduroy ropes, that'd be kind of cool. I don't think of like what texture of rope would not be cool, or like the coolest rope, like snakeskin.
Yeah, some kind of like an ostrich.
That'd be dope.
Yeah,
that'd be dope.
I mean, but if we want to go like PETA wise, it's like a faux ostrich.
Yes. All of it should be like vegan. I wonder if that's vegan velvet. Anyway, we're here to talk about a few films that we saw yesterday, only one of which was part of the actual festival that we're here to cover.
Here's the fun part, and I know my wife doesn't listen to this, so it's like, I don't know.
Sorry, my partner doesn't listen either.
If and like I'm sure, like if out there in Screamerland, don't be cool. Like seriously, be cool. But like I don't know if, and it doesn't really matter because I'm in Dallas, right? And but like I don't know if it's a known thing that we see films outside of the festival while we're here. Because I try to, like, here's the thing, I'm a nut bar. I try to squeeze in as much as we possibly can see.
Yeah.
And so like any gap where we have a screener and like we've already seen everything's going to be in a spot, I'm like, oh, what's in the area that we can catch? Like last year we caught thunder fucking bolts, man. Like
just because we had nothing else to go see at that point. Right. Like we had seen everything, and we had just done like an interview, so it was like, yeah, let's go. Right. We're in a movie theater. Fuck it. Like what's playing? Right.
And I'm not gonna watch a bunch of bullshit documentaries or like. No
not
offense.
All documentaries are bullshit.
No. You're right.
Some.
Do we want to talk about that film first? Because
I need to get that out of the way. Okay. I need to get the last shot.
Oh no. Okay. I thought you meant Gaslit. I meant Gaslit as well. Did you want to talk about Gaslit as well?
Or we can talk about Gaslit.
Okay. Well, let's get the bad out of the way.
Yeah.
The opening night. It's not the Founders film because that's tonight. That's the documentary about Deep Ellum, which we won't be seeing. I think it actually already happened. I think it was at 5 o'clock today.
If you guys didn't catch Jason's opinions on all documentaries for the most part. Not all, but you know.
I'm sure this one was fine. But the opening night film was a movie called Last Shot. So we broke up our day yesterday by going to the Angelica to see the drama, the Arpat Zendaya film.
You say Zendaya, I say Zendaya.
Let's call the whole thing off. And then we saw The Last Shot, but we also bought tickets at the Texas Theater to see David Lowery's new film, Mother Mary, which opened up last night at, nationwide, I guess. As big as David Lowery A24 films are going to open up. And so, yeah, we saw Last Shot. It probably wouldn't have been, if it hadn't been the only thing that was playing, I don't think this is the thing we would have went and seen anyway.
No.
It's a basketball drama centered around under 12-year-old basketball players. It's quite possibly one of the worst.
It was not good. I did not enjoy it.
No. I mean, and I knew from jump. Like it's okay. So we start off and we see Michael Rappaport, like of all people, playing a drunk dad in a sparsely attended middle school game.
But he is a hyper vigilant sports dad, right? Like a hyper, not protected, but like what is that called? Like I mean, it's almost
Right,
like
just
a
like
helicopter
overbearing.
bear, but like yeah. But like he is like my son's the best, right? Shooter shoot, blah blah blah. But he's drunk in this game,
Right.
and yelling and screaming.
And so that happens for like the first 5 minutes, and we're supposed to believe that this kid is a Teen Wolf-esque basketball player, like where he can do it all. He can hit it from the three. He can drive into the baseline. He can do it under the basket, like behind the back layup. I'm just like,
He can do it on a cold night in Stoke.
right.
That's
He's
a soccer
very
reference,
much
yeah.
an and one kind of player.
Yes. He can do it all.
And then, so like Rappaport, he gets fouled hard on an offensive foul. He gets charged. Rappaport comes out on the court. He punches another parent.
Yeah. They don't call the foul. He gets belligerent. He runs it on
No,
the
they
court. He's
actually
like,
do call
I
the
told
foul.
you, ref. Oh, did they call it?
Yeah, they called it.
Okay.
Weirdly enough.
Okay. But he's like yelling at the ref, like I told you someone was going to get hurt, which ironically he's the one that,
Right.
yeah, like you said.
And all of
punches
this
another
is
parent.
not important at all.
Right, and can you tell us why, Jason?
Because Rappaport dies like 5 minutes later.
5 minutes later.
Rappaport
5
comes in
minutes
the next
later.
morning and apologizes to his son and says, hey, I'll do better. Then we have
And we get this like nice moment of them watching like a cheesy like bad horror flick together, and like seemingly like they have a really good bond, like a really close, loving bond.
So he's not a bad father. He just is an alcoholic. But he's also not beating his kid, like he's embarrassing his kid.
But the question is, and this is where I was like really like off the rails last night, why do we need to see him being a belligerent alcoholic? Why can't he just be
die early on?
Well, right, but like establish the relationship of this loving father who is like also in a productive way pushing his child to be a better basketball player. He doesn't have to be an asshole.
No,
I mean,
he doesn't.
Especially because the kid is so broken up over the loss of this guy. I mean, by all accounts, we're supposed to believe that this kid and his father are best friends,
Right.
are like the best. I mean, like Michael Rappaport's got an audition, and the kid's running lines with him, right? And he's doing a shitty job, but they laugh about it.
Right.
There's nothing in those moments together that indicates these other things. And then he dies like immediately after that. So why do we have to make him out to be this like shit heel?
Because the filmmaker knew a guy who wrote a song about a dead dad, and they were like,
I had to play it in the
they had to
fucking
play
car.
it in the car. Okay, can we talk for a minute?
Yes.
About the decorations in that motherfucking apartment with like the ramen neon sign in the background.
But see this, I mean, okay, I'm okay with some of that because, but again, like, I'm fine if we show Rappaport as never having really grown up, right? He's still chasing his dream of being an actor. Yeah, but okay, cool, like fantastic, because as we kind of find out, like in a little bit of like tidbit,
Right.
he's getting alimony payments from Jamie Presley, who has a lot of money,
like legacy Nashville star.
Like, I'm okay with all of that, but like, why do you have him be a complete piece of shit and then be like, well, but actually they're best friends?
Right, because this kid doesn't need like to have it at both ends, like whereas both his parents suck, right?
I know, right.
And he has to have a reason to hate his mom. And he already has one. Like
That's
there's
easy,
no
though.
reason. Like this kid, it should be a tragedy that this kid's dad dies. And we're kind of left to believe like, oh, well, this will be a good thing for this kid to go live with his mom.
I know!
But this is not the problem. Look, this is a type of movie.
It's part of the problem.
Right,
yeah.
Okay, yes, it is. But this is the type of, like, as we're saying this, I know there's people out there that may listen and go, oh, well, that doesn't sound so bad. Like, there's an alcoholic father, a kid probably dies, gets to live with his mom.
It's 5 minutes.
Right, right. And so none of it fucking matters. Like, none of it, and it's all wrong. We are introduced to the mom. Well, okay, so, like, the funeral happens, and like we come to find out that like there's a grandmother who lives in this town, and like she doesn't want the kid. So none of this is set up though. Like it's none of it's,
I mean that's the thing, right? Is that like, I mean, I think we're thinking, right? It's probably better if he stays with the grandmother, but the grandmother's also got a point where she's like, you've never been a fucking mother. Like, what are you doing here? Right? I mean, like this kind of, she's kind of even says, like, you don't know what this feels like. You have no idea. And maybe you should.
So I feel like every time we explain this movie, we're explaining it better than it is, though.
This is true. We're giving it way more credit in the description.
Because it's all just so fucking ham-fisted.
And it's tropey. It is so tropey.
And not tropey in a good way. Like, I could forgive it if it was a fucking Hallmark movie that was done well.
Right.
I could forgive it if it was Hot Frosty. I could. But this is...
Because Frosty's hot.
Right. But this... So, Jamie Presley, like these people have never been worse in their entire careers.
Right.
I mean, like, the best person, which I didn't look up if it was young Neil from Scott Pilgrim, but the best person is the budding country singer, which we never find out why Presley doesn't take him under her wing to like.
I know.
So there's so many things that are set up that never pay off, that like,
and don't actually like fit into this, like, are never explained.
Right.
In the story.
We get to Nashville. And we know we're in Nashville because there's the 3-minute montage.
And the 12 establishing shots that we get throughout, but different moments.
And then, fuck, man, we're introduced, like, the kid doesn't want to play basketball again, but then he goes to this private school and immediately plays basketball again, finds this other kid who's, of course he's black, and like he's got, and so now he's on this ragtag team of like this club team.
Yeah. Can we at least give the club team credit for being multicultural and diverse?
Sure. Yes.
I mean, there's an actual girl on the team who like plays,
and a kid with leukemia,
and a kid with leukemia
for some reason.
Because we don't have enough tragedy in the story.
Let's do full disclosure here. We did not watch the end of this movie because we needed to get over to Mother Mary, and
I couldn't watch any more of it.
They extended the intro to this, and so it was just like...
Yeah, but at one point I looked over at Jason and said, I'm leaving, and I left. And I was like, I'll be upstairs, yeah.
And I stayed another 5 minutes just to like, not so we didn't leave together, but like...
Yeah, I was not coming back.
But like, everything this film does, from the music... Aside from young Neil, who, if that's who it is, was the only good part about this. Like, the basketball sequences were so poorly done. Like, they did like text interstitials that were like, that made no fucking sense. We were supposed to care about the characters on the basketball team, and we don't.
But we never spent enough time with them.
Right, it's all over. Like, this movie is trying to do like everything at once.
It's like short, angry kid, leukemia kid, girl on an all-boys team,
right?
White guy,
surfer kid,
I mean, like surfer kid. Yeah. I mean, it's like. None of it. And like Baron Davis's son. I mean, like that's it.
Yeah, it's like I wanted to do a Karate Kid tournament. I wanted to do, this.
Right.
And none of it works. And it's an hour, or it's 118 minutes. It's almost 2 hours long.
Why?
And it's so fucking drawn out. It's so terrible.
It does not need to be that long, like at all.
Yeah. It was just an excruciating experience. And I mean, God bless him. But
okay, whatever. You want to touch briefly on Gaslit, because you interviewed the director and one of the activists involved, and so like Screamers, go listen to that. I think for more kind of in-depth look at the film. But this is Gaslit, directed by Katie Camosi, whose name I misspelled this morning, but I fixed it. I just want to mea culpa on that again. But this is about, I mean, go ahead. It's about like what the fracking and Permian Basin. And
so this is a film that touches on some people who are, one, fighting back against oil and gas companies for this like hidden, the hidden dangers of fracking. I mean, even the things I think we don't know, right?
Right. And then they kind of like the invisible methane, And so we get a few activists. And then we bring in some like personal stories of people who are directly affected. I think we've said it in the past that like we're not a fan of preachy documentaries, or preachy is the wrong word. I always say message documentaries because I feel like, and this film does the exact same thing. This is a film that's backed by Greenpeace, and so there's not a lot of discourse. We didn't talk about the librarians, but this is the same kind of thing. There's not a lot of discourse. There's not a lot of reaching across the aisle. And look, I'm not. And I think by reaching across the aisle, you mean getting those opinions or those kind of like setting up a kind of like opposition, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I look, and again, maybe there's no maybe there's no stance there. Maybe we can move into fossil. Maybe we can move off of fossil fuels immediately, right? Maybe we can like just go and be gone, right? And tomorrow we are all on wind power and solar power and whatever else, and we're fine. But I do believe that like there's an alternative voice, and that could have been brought into this. That I don't necessarily think it needs to be given a platform to people who are trying to quote unquote gaslight you, which is obviously I think a clever double play on this title. But what I will say this, so here's the thing: I'm not a fan of these documentaries from that sense of like, I do think that like these are preaching to the choir documentaries, and I don't know if those get across the message that they're trying to get across. I don't know if they're as impactful as they want themselves to be, and so that's my only really complaint. And I don't find them like at that point. Look, I'm with you. I think these companies should be regulated, should be held to account.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be killing people. Right. But I do. What I will say about this, right? I don't think companies shouldn't kill people. I'm going to go out on a limb and just say that right now.
But what if companies are people?
If people come after me, then so be it. But like, I'm going to say companies shouldn't just be able to kill people. What I will say about this documentary, and why I do think it needs to be seen, is I do think it opens some things that are not really commonly talked about. And I think there's 2 points of this documentary that touches upon. One, that the methane gas is like so prevalent. It's not leaks. It's not this like. It is an issue where
it's like exhaust.
That this is a thing that happens. But also, I think the most important thing this documentary does is it shows that foreign countries are buying our oil and gas, and these are countries that have banned fracking themselves. But they're buying gas that's a product of fracking, and the American people are paying the price for it. And I said this with Katie. It's like, exploitation is never good, regardless of where it happens. But I do believe that it's one of those things where it's like, oh well, if we get our blood diamonds from Africa, I mean, people got to be doing something, right?
It's their problem.
As long as I'm getting pretty rocks, I don't know about it. But it's a whole different story when we have polluted water sources and cancer cells because foreign countries buying into these 10-year contracts with oil and gas companies. So I will say this: I think the documentary is well done. I don't know if and I understand why Jane Fonda is a part of it. I don't know if it's going to have the impact But I do appreciate that it's being played here. I do appreciate that there'll be some conversations about it and some people will tell people about it. Another thing that I have a problem with these documentaries is that there's not ever really a clear call to action. And I think this is the same thing. It's like, call your congressman, do this sort of things. But like, and maybe there's not. But this is not an organized group of people that are leading a charge. There's a bunch of different people. And so it's hard to know like where to focus your efforts. And again, that's not necessarily a fault of the filmmakers. They can't like generate, false movement. And I do think that bringing to light these issues are important.
Right.
I just hope that they're able to get past the preaching to the converted piece, because like when we sat in a room with the librarians, that's all it was.
It was
It was just.
Right.
That
you're hitting the target audience.
Right. And we all want to boo, and we all want to hiss and throw popcorn at, the mustache twirling bad guy. But like, what you really need is to be able to reach out to a mom who's concerned about something that her kids reading, and tell her like, look, we're not trying to put porn in libraries. We're trying to make sure free speech is enough. But there is an avenue, and like we want to have a discussion with you. And we'll listen. In the sense of this documentary, right? I understand the money's against everyone in this case, and that we will be fighting this. Like I said, I think it's a commendable effort. I just wonder again how much traction this is actually going to get.
Right. How much change will it actually occur? But I will say, like, kind of like my last thought on this. It's important, regardless, that people who care about this stuff, and of course we care about it too. I don't mean to like dismiss that.
Of course.
People who are passionate and have the means and ability to make a film like this do so.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, it's hard. Like I don't want to come across as kind of shitting on the documentary. I think my stance in general is like, how do you make that jump? And like, I don't know if, and I do think that at some point I do think that this comes across as reasoned. I don't think that there's any like real like true vitriol or like where I thought the librarians kind of had a lot of that. I know this is not DIFF, and I keep going back to that, but like I do feel like this is not necessarily trying to invoke anger, but it's trying to invoke empathy. Right. But I also feel like unless we have one of those moments of like this John Grisham moment, like we're going to sue them, or you know, like fucking Aaron Brockovich kind of thing.
Right.
Like it's hard to know.
Then
like,
it's
how do we win here, and how do we, and you know, and I do. Please go listen to the interviews because I do talk about like how what gives you hope, what keeps you going. Is this a fight that we're going to continue to have to keep fighting? And so, if you get a chance, check it out. And if your eyes are opened a little bit,
then go get involved.
Better. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about the two new films that we saw yesterday as well. And we'll just go in chronological order. And we'll start with the drama. The new film by Christopher Borgli, starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson as an interracial couple who are planning for their wedding. And the drama comes up because they decide to play a game with their best man and maid of honor, who are also an interracial married couple. And the game is, what's the worst thing you've ever done? And they all go around, and Robert Pattinson is very like milquetoast in this film. Yeah. And so his kind of worst thing is a real sort of like hedging kind of milquetoast thing, like I was mean to someone online.
Right.
And they coincidentally moved, right?
Right.
The other actor, whose name I can never pronounce, what is his name? He's fantastic, but I cannot pronounce his name.
Right.
He talked about using an ex-girlfriend as like a human shield for a dog. Elena Haim did something very like akin to her character, and it was like she locked someone, a younger child who may or may not have been mentally disabled, in a closet of an abandoned like trailer home, and like ran away and left him there overnight and didn't tell anyone. So when it comes to Zendaya, she talks about that when she was 15 years old, she planned out a school shooting.
Right. And everyone loses their fucking mind.
Everyone loses their shit. And then that is really the inciting incident of the film, and everything then kind of breaks down from there, right? We have questions of relationships, and like in the Elena Haim character's account, she just cuts Zendaya off completely.
Right. Because she has some sort of cousin that was injured in a school shooting.
Sam, and of course they all say him, and like it's her, Samantha, which I thought was a nice treat. But I mean, I really dug this film, but I think that it fails to interrogate a lot of other stuff, right? I don't think it's an accident that Zendaya is the one who planned the school shooting, being that Zendaya is black, and a black woman at that. I think that there's a whole lot to unpack there that we don't unpack.
And the reaction of Robert Pattinson being British and the absolute horror that happens, and him trying to rationalize his kind of love affair with an American.
A gun-toting American.
Right.
And like the complete inability of anyone in that group to recognize, not justify, but recognize why the 15-year-old Zendaya character may have been like pushed to want to do something like this, right? The bullying, the racism, right? However, like passive aggressive, the constant like flood of online sort of active shooters, right? And like the YouTube sensations of people talking about shooting, right? And shooters. Growing up as like a military brat. I mean, there's so much stuff here that is just like, oh, you're just a psychopath. And it's like nobody wants to, and not even the filmmaker seems to want to like interrogate these things that like pushed her, or in a way like groomed her to think that this was like a viable option.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I feel like the filmmaker is almost intentionally leaving them on the table to let the audience have the conversation. But
so
I
wondered about this too.
Because but I do believe that like there could have been some more nudging, right? Because like I think, Elena Haim's husband, boyfriend, could have been a little bit more of a staunch defender of the collective experience between him and Zendaya. I think Zendaya being, a product of a mixed race marriage as well speaks to something. I think that there's a lot to be said again. So I do think that there could have been, I mean, I think I think it's
I don't
all
want it
open
to
for
be a
interpretation.
polemic, and I don't want it to be didactic,
Right.
and I don't want my hand to be held. But yes, because I was watching it too, going, okay, is he leaving this up to me to like step in there and then bring this? But if he is, I think with a subject like this, I think that's a danger, right? And so like, or like you said, not nudging a bit more. Right? Because he clearly has thoughts on this. He clearly has, you know, I don't think there's accidents in like what his characters are doing and what they're saying and how they're acting.
No, because otherwise you would have cast somebody other than Robert Pattinson.
Yes, exactly. Right? And Zendaya, right? I mean, because the story's completely different if it's a white girl, a white woman, who's playing the school shooting. I guarantee there's not as much outrage.
Right.
And I think that's the point, right? And so then to
like,
not somehow examine that.
And his previous films did nudge.
Exactly.
So I mean, Sick of Myself and Dream Scenario are nudging those conversations, and also like being a lot more explicit.
He was at least pointing and saying, right there. I mean, I do feel like I do feel like this was kind of his grown-up film.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know, Dream Scenario had lots of like funny stuff, and like the ending of that was completely different than the ending of this. And then Sick of Myself it's sometimes just like a grotesque kind of like, you know, dick and fart joke kind of like scenarios. I mean, like, you know,
yeah, absolutely.
And so, and then that ending again, something else. So I do feel like this was him trying to be like, this is my grown-up film, right? This is like, and I do think it is a step forward. I think I think it's a better film than Dream Scenario for sure.
Right.
I think Sick of Myself is such a unique kind of like movie that it's hard to compare these things. But I mean, you see all of his hallmarks in here. He wants to make you uncomfortable. He wants to make you think about these things. But I just think that he's almost maybe a little too, wait, I'm a white guy. Can I talk about this? Like,
I think Sick of Myself unveiled its horrors better than this film did.
Yes.
I think this film lulls you to sleep in a really good way. And I think it almost lulls you to sleep so much that like that the school shooting as an audience, especially and I know this is what we should be thinking about, I'm almost like, all right, well, she planned it, but like, who gives a fuck? Like, I mean, like,
right, and something else along with that. No one, all this stuff that she does afterwards, right? So, in high school, she doesn't go through with the shooting, and she ends up becoming involved with a gun rights or gun control activist group. And by all accounts, takes charge of this group and does so much
She
work.
becomes a spokesperson. She throws the rifle away that she was going to use.
And so, of course, like the group just assume. Well, I guess Elena Haim is just like, well, that's just like, you know, the Nazis wouldn't take you, so you did this other thing. And I know Pattinson said that, but it's the same kind of mentality. But no one gives her credit for like not going through with it and then doing something else, like for whatever reason, right? I mean, because it seemed like to me at the end of the day, all she was trying to find was a community, was a group of friends, and when she found that, her life became better. I mean, like, and she became a more productive member of the school, of society. But I think this is something else about how much we hold on to things, right? And the one girl's like, well, I would have called the police, and Pattinson's like, it was like 15 years ago, but isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Right.
But I think that's the mentality that we have. Is like, well, once you've done something wrong, you've always done something wrong.
Right. And I think it's, I really, really dug it. I do think that Pattinson was the weak link in the whole thing. I didn't like. I think we gave him too much screen time, and like a lot of the weepiness and the crying and it
becomes too much about him. Right. And it should not be about him.
I think the quartet is a really good dynamic, right? Because it provides so many more angles to come at this.
Do you think that by the end of this film, and I think you know how I'm going to feel about this, that Zendaya has become nothing more than a manic pixie dream girl?
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
And I think that is, to me, that is like the one misstep, and this like real misstep in this film.
Yeah.
Because I think she is so good in this. And look, I have on this very page, I have said, are we sure that she's good?
Right.
And this to me says yes, she's good.
Yeah.
She's fantastic in this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything I wanted her to do in Challengers, she does in this. I mean, like, the stuff that she's doing, like there are moments where she is defiant, right? She is strong. She is goofy. She is sarcastic. She is witty. She's vulnerable, right? She's crushed and she's depressed. And she does this just seamlessly, and it never feels overdone.
Right.
Wherein, I didn't mean to bring up challenges again, but like I just can't like abide like.
I mean, it's just a bad movie.
Her like work in that, I was like, what are we doing, right? So yeah, she's fantastic.
It's I say challenge. It's not a bad movie. It's a silly film. It's not deserving of whatever people.
These are not serious people who are making this film. Yeah.
No, but I like what this film posits, right? That like actual horrors are not as bad as planned horrors
Or imagined horror,
right? And that we are so quick to dismiss. That we're so quick to like you said, we never ask why. We just demonize, right?
Right. And again, like they even say to her, well, you mean you just fascinated about it? And I'm like, how is that any better?
Right.
Like if you're gonna be mad about this, why would you be okay with like, oh, I daydream about like murdering people?
Yeah. It's the A24 like that I want A24 to always be. Like this is the film they should always be putting out.
Yes.
Yeah. Like fuck all the Death of the Unicorn bullshit.
Oh my god.
Like
and that John Malkovich movie. Opus.
Opus.
Yeah, that was them too, right?
Yes, yeah. Although that might have been, was that A24 or was that Neon? I always get confused. Like, and like after a little while, it's all the fucking same, right?
Like, but Neon and A24 are sort of like Catholic and Episcopalians. they're really close, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred another British actor than Pattinson. I really wanted Pattinson to comb his hair the entire time. I understand, like I get it, but like okay, so the one, as far as criticisms go, like I don't necessarily know if we need his like sexual assault of his assistant in that.
Why
film.
is that there?
Because also she's so like weirdly submissive in that moment, and like I don't know why we're diverting attention to her.
We don't need that,
right?
It's just not a necessary.
Look, and it's because you
cut that scene when he like throws the chair, cut it, and then like move on.
Right, because also you don't need a betray. He's already betrayed her with the school shooting thing.
Right.
He doesn't need to betray her with a infidelity piece, right?
Yeah. No, it's not. No.
So, I mean, it's not a perfect film. I think it's a really good movie, and I think it's a really good like sit with you after the fact movie. And I wonder if this is going to be this guy's thing, right? I mean, like,
oh yeah, I think absolutely it is. I mean, again, like if you look over his three films, you see very similar kind of like traits and characteristics, but they're all different too. So but he's clearly interested in like skewering society.
Right.
I mean, from different angles.
I just worry that gets to be a little on the nose at times. I mean, I'm like, hopefully he can pull it off in a sense that's like where it doesn't become awful.
Yeah. Okay. Another guy who's interesting in skewering society from different angles. I'm kidding. I don't really think that's true. But David Lowery's newest film, Mother Mary, starring Anne Hathaway, and I thought like a fantastic Michaela Cole in this film. How would you describe this movie? Musical, dance, women talking?
Yeah.
Ghost story? But it's not a ghost story?
It's all of those things. It's like Suspiria meets The Devil Wears Prada. It's the best Devil Wears Prada sequel that could possibly exist, and it's just they fucked it up and they didn't make Mother Mary as Devil Wears Prada 2.
Right. I mean, Anne Hathaway's in both. So.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this is a film that I'm going to need to see again.
Of course.
Without a doubt, because I think there's a lot to sort of pick apart and unpack and like understand on a better level. But look, from a story, from a filmmaking aspect, holy shit! Oh, this is why I love David Lowery. Right?
Yeah.
This is like his like maximalist art film, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, like what's so impressive is that this didn't cost much, and he is every cent is on screen. He frames everything everything's so beautifully shot. Like he understands the music. He understands how to make those sequences really, really pop. like Hathaway looks terrible and amazing all in the same
All of
breath.
this, yes.
Like, what's the woman's name that plays opposite of her?
Michaela Cole.
Yes, okay.
Sam, and Sam is her
Sam.
character's name.
Yeah. She is so impressive and looks and also just so captivating when she's on screen.
Well, the way that I think he shot her and lit her is really impressive, right? Because there are times you look at her, and I mean, you catch every angle of her face and every like glint in her eye, and
this is what's so like striking. And again, it's hard. Like, it's not fair. But like coming out of Last Shot and then watching this, it's like this is a movie, right?
You're
this
like,
is what like
What you said as we walked out? That's how you movie, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, you're exactly right.
Little kid dressed as there's a bunch of people cosplaying as Michael Jackson here tonight because Michael was opening up
Because the
tonight,
movie, yeah.
which is pretty badass.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
No, there was as I was coming up, a woman got off the elevator, like dancing, and I was just kind of cool. I mean, but she was also dressed as Michael Jackson.
I mean, this movie's inexplicable. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I think this goes with
It's
all
even
of Lowry.
ineffable.
Yes, it's those guys. But I don't think Lowry's movies are meant to be fully understood.
No, I don't think so either.
And I think if you can go with that, it's so beautiful.
It's definitely like, can you get on this kind of like wave and go with it? And if you can, you will just, because yes, you can just kind of like give yourself over to the acting and to the visual language, and you're just like, this is amazing. This is really fucking great. Like, this is incredible, actually. And the practical effects with like the puppetry.
Yeah, it's
hell yeah.
unbelievable.
I mean,
it's one of those ones where it's like, I know that there's pieces of this I'm missing because I'm not female, and there's like this dynamic that like exists.
And it's our third movie, and like, you know, straight. Right?
Yeah, like fucking A.
Because for 6 hours we've done nothing but watch this giant screen. But yeah, I mean, but that's what I mean. Like, seeing this again, seeing this a third time.
But I will say, being the third, that was a perfect third movie to catch because like I was never like. I was in the entire time.
Right. I was also like just the right amount of tired.
Right.
That my brain was like, no, I'm not doing this right now. Like, I'm not gonna like put this puzzle together. Like, just let me watch it.
This starts off a lot like Oddity, like where like you come to an old house and like
I know. I mean, it really has that kind of like European Gothic like feel.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess British Gothic like feel. And like you're kind of waiting for that, and it never really goes like that direct. It always like is kind of like no. You can't see what I'm doing because this is an audio medium, but I'm like pushing my hand towards Jason in a suggestive manner.
I feel like this movie's gonna get lost.
But most of his movies get lost.
I mean, that's a goddamn shame.
Like his really artsy ones get lost, right? Ghost Story got lost.
Yeah.
I mean, Ain't Those Bodies Saints gets lost, right? I mean, even to an extent, Green Knight is kind of like, you know, it's out.
Right.
Old Man with the Gun, people know because of Redford and Spacey, right? Pete's Dragon, right? I mean, these other ones. But these other ones that
and then Peter Pan and Wendy like got COVID, so it's like which I have not seen that one. I heard it wasn't very good, but I hadn't seen it. So
it wasn't. There was just nothing like there was not enough Lowry in that Lowry film.
Also, can we just say we don't ever need another Peter Pan movie, like ever?
Right. It's after Finding Neverland with Johnny Depp. You're exactly right. That was it. That was the perfect one. If anyone's going to play J.M. Barrie,
because it had Kelly MacDonald in it, and that's the end all be all.
Yes. What else do you need after that? Which is obviously why we did not need Trainspotting 2.
Right.
We don't need. We have a perfect Kelly MacDonald, right? We don't need any more. Stop it.
She's a goddamn treasure.
Like, just know when you cannot like up something anymore.
Yeah, it's like the Coen brothers knew, right? It was like, we're gonna add her in a little bit, and it's gonna be the perfect amount.
And she's gonna crush.
And she's gonna fucking crush.
She's gonna steal every scene, right, that she's in, and we're all gonna be like, damn, she's good.
She's so fucking good.
Yeah. But anyway, go check out the drama and Mother Mary, especially. In fact, watch them several times.
Yes.
And then people are going to come talk to us. People are going to talk to us. People
Holy
recognize
shit.
us.
Hey, say hello.
How are you?
No,
How are you?
You have been listening to Why Does the Wilhelm Scream with your hosts, Brock and Jason. If you liked today's episode, do us a favor and rate, review, and subscribe in whatever application you use to consume podcasts these days. You can reach us by visiting whydoesthewilhelmscream.com. If you are in the DFW area, we would love to see you at a Fort Worth Film Club event. You can learn more about those and find a full schedule at fortworthfilmclub.com. And you can learn about my foundation and how we are trying to foster the next generation of film lovers at realhousefoundation.org. That's REEL housefoundation.org. Till next time,